Before I test out the PCI Express card, I just want to show you guys which devices I'll be using in the test. Starting from left to right, I have a thumb drive that is USB 2.0. I'll be using it for a baseline and to see if overall speeds will increase when plugged into a 3.1 slot. Right here I have a 3.0 device. This is a 3.0 Passport, which uses USB power to run it. So I want to see if that is affected. I have an external hard drive here, which is also 3.0, and it uses external power, so it won't rely on the USB to power it. I want to see if that'll increase speeds. And finally, to properly test this device, I picked up a USB 3.1 micro thumb drive. The second part of the test will be the AMD computer. I've got the same 5 storage devices. I'm going to be testing them the exact same way. First, I'll put them in the USB 3.0 slot, and then I'll test them in the USB 3.1. The motherboard in this test is the MSI A80XM Gaming with an AMD A10 7850K. The bottom slot is actually the part that I'll be testing, and it runs at ×8, so there should be no problem in transfer speeds. Very interesting. I'm going to try something really quick because I'm getting really weird results and I don't like it. So I'm going to disconnect the USB 3.0 card and see what happens. Now we're going to try this again now that I've disconnected the card. See, much faster. Okay, that's got to be it. Starting off with the USB 2.0 flash drive plugged into USB 3.0 slot. Starts off right around 8 megabytes per second, dropping all the way down to 4, and hovering right around 5.5 to 6.5 with small spikes up to 7 megabytes per second. It's fairly consistent in its drops and peaks, and it says it's going to take about 30 seconds to transfer the 313 megabyte file. Next we have the USB 3.0 flash drive plugged into the USB 3.0 slot. Once it's finished its little cycle, I'll go ahead and drop the file in. Okay, here we go. And we are right around 17.3 megabytes per second. And about halfway through it drops down and goes at about USB 2.0 speeds. I have seen this thing spike all the way up to 40 megabytes per second, but it's usually fairly more consistent with results like this. This is the Western Digital Elements USB 3.0 portable Passport external hard drive, and it is plugged into a USB 3.0 slot. It is at a consistent 36 megabytes per second, with it going up and down slightly and ending at 42 megabytes per second. Very fast transfer. It's already complete. This is the Seagate 3TB external hard drive that is powered on its own. It has its own power cord, and it is also USB 3.0 plugged into a USB 3.0 slot. And as you can see, it hit about 157 megabytes and really fast speeds there. Once again, last but not least, we have the USB 3.0 flash drive, or I'm sorry, USB 3.1 Kingston flash drive plugged in the USB 3.0 slot. And it started off at 60 megabytes per second, peaking out at a little over 65, and now it's going between 16 and 24 megabytes per second in small bursts. This is actually pretty consistent for this flash drive. Still really fast transfer times. The USB PCI 3.1 card actually runs well enough that I'm able to put two flash drives in at once without them influencing each other's speeds, unlike the USB 3.0. So right here we have the USB 2.0 flash drive plugged into a USB 3.1 slot, and let's go ahead and see what kind of transfer speeds we're gonna get. Starts off at 11, 10, dropping down to 8.5, 7.6, back up to 10, and then it's pretty consistent from there. Obviously much faster transfer rates, and they're fairly more consistent. Actually, they're much more consistent, staying at a solid 10.7 pretty much this whole time after the initial drop and rise. Much faster transfer rate, definitely. Next we have the the Patriot 3.0 flash drive plugged into USB 3.1 slot. And let's see, started off low and then jumping right back up to 40-ish, and then dropping back down to 4, and then now we're doing little bumps between 5 and 12 megabytes per second. That is really inconsistent, actually. I'm going to go ahead and run that one more time just to see if I can get another more consistent result, because that was really weird. Alright, wait for it to stop blinking. Still blinking. There we go. Try this again. And it looks like we're still seeing the same weird spike. So I'm going to go ahead and say that maybe the USB 2.0 being plugged in is actually affecting it. No, well, it's doing what it's supposed to be. It spiked up pretty high, and now it's doing the 6.5 to 8.5. So it's not that much different. I'm going to unplug the USB 2.0 just to see if it made that much of a difference. Alright. Alright, let's try this one more time just to see what happens. Started off at 47, dropped down to 26, all the way back up to 35, and a drop to 8.5. And now we've got a fairly consistent 8.5 all the way across. So yes, this is the result I was expecting. And when I tried it with two USBs the first time, it worked just fine. Apparently not. Maybe I just had a fluke, because that was the result I was expecting. Still a very fast transfer speed. Third up, just like always, we have the Western Digital Element Passport Drive USB 3.0 plugged in to a USB 3.1 slot. And here we have fairly consistent at 36 megabytes per second, 37 megabytes per second. Very fast transfer speed, just about what I expected to see. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. Try it again just to make sure. There, that was the result I expected, running at 100. I just had to let it boot up all the way, I guess. Let's try that one more time. Make sure the drive isn't flashing. All right, and here we go, drop. Yep, 107 megabytes per second. Very fast transfer speeds. That was the speed I expected. Fourth, we have the Seagate external hard drive, 3 terabytes, USB 3.0 plugged into a USB 3.1 slot. It started off at around 40 and capped out at 110. I'm gonna run that one more time just to make sure. I was getting much faster speeds than USB 3.0. Alright, that was 156 megabytes per second all the way across. A slight improvement, but still very fast. So lastly, this is the Kingston USB 3.1 flash drive plugged into a USB 3.1 slot. And let's see how well it does over the other flash drives. Started at 63 megabytes per second, dropping down to 17. Now we're between 17 and 24.9 megabytes per second. And I'm pretty sure that was just about the same speeds that were on the USB 3.0, maybe slightly faster. So there definitely is an improvement over USB 3.0, but not a huge improvement. Maybe once the USB 3.1 devices get a little bit more development done, then the external hard drives and things will be much more friendly with the transfer speeds. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. I hope it was helpful for you in trying to decide whether or not you want to upgrade to USB 3.1. The original video that this data goes towards will be down in the description. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe if you want to get more information and if you like this video. Feel free to leave comments down below and ask me some questions. This was Data Done Chanley style.